All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Jonathan because you're involved in so many things. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
I don't even know where to start. You have so many things. I mean, I'm assuming you've always been an entrepreneur in one form or another.
I've always just loved computers, and I ended up being really good at repairing them. The word got out. I'd have people picking me up because I couldn't drive, take me to their home, fix their network issues. Probably by the time I was 18, I had 150 clients, I'd say within an hour radius.
How did you get to roofing? Or actually, you went to marketing and then roofing.
Yeah, that's right. So the bridge there is simply a lot of those computer customers were business owners. They thought, oh, I'll get a great price from this teenager. And they were right. I can't say that they were the best websites, especially the first one I built for myself and maybe the first two willing participants. But, fortunately, they were cheap and I learned a lot. I did eventually build a team. I've always wanted to be an artist or a designer, but unfortunately, I'm a little bit more of a numbers guy. But building out the team, I was able to, I say always, hit 10 out of 10 in every area by having an expert in every area. So the roofing side, I did watch, other episodes of yours. And so, active listener. And the favorite thing I heard so far is when your recent guest said, you don't choose roofing, roofing chooses you. So what really happened was my uncle William, who was in general construction, decided to get into commercial roofing. He never did marketing. Obviously, it's a very tough business. We know that a lot of people lose money trying it out, and we know many of the reasons why. And so, because trust was so important to him, he asked me to do it, and I actually said no. And the reason was because it was so complicated, and I really wanted to do a good job. And I mean, there was nobody specializing in commercial roofing marketing, but there had to be someone better than the guy who knew nothing about it. And there were just so many systems. But he kept after me, and then he explained how he's part of this group and that I could talk to others. And there was a financial incentive there for him to actually get jobs. And so I had this one older gentleman, over 60 years old, ran successful businesses, had sons with successful businesses. So he imparted a lot of wisdom. So that gave me the confidence to say yes. From there, I'll just share one last thing. We sent out mailers. Obviously, we did a website and other things, but the mailers was the scariest part for me because I had never done that before. With digital, you can track it all. Mailers, something goes wrong. I mean, is it the list company? Did the post office lose them? Was your design bad? You don't know. You just flat out don't know. But he asked other people in the group how they're doing with their mailers. And even though he was a new guy that nobody knew, the building owners were extremely responsive. And so they all wanted my number, and that's where it started.
Basically, that's the marketing side, and then I guess the commercial side sort of came from that, the groups and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I'm not as excited about products or even services. It's about connecting people, seeing good guys win, helping companies make more of what they already have, that kind of thing.
So, I mean, if you had to describe like what your day to day looks like now, based on all the things you're doing, how do you spend your time? What sort of things, do you focus on now?
Well, every day is different because I do, own multiple businesses, as you saw. And anybody who is interested in seeing, more aspects of my background, feel free to go on LinkedIn. It's all right there. I would say, a big part of it right now is, and I know everybody's doing it and people are tired of hearing about it, but it's just amazing to me all the cool things you can do with AI. We've been rebuilding a lot of our processes. Just whether it's how we assign articles to our SEO blog writers or just compiling, big data so we make better decisions. We developed some software. My favorite is probably our chatbot because it's actually helpful. And we get into that. But, beyond that, it's really, I always kind of look at myself as more of the chef. I like creating the recipes and the processes. And then whether the cook is a team member or, like I create these guides, I send them out to our clients, just helping them, make more from their Facebook leads, for instance.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things you can do to help in that way.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you started the roofing commercial roofing business. What did the first couple of projects look like? What were your key learnings early on?
The first one I remember is probably my second mailer. But he was a very prominent guy, had a lot of people following him, and he was trying this new strategy about giving permanent roofs. And the idea was with coatings. This would have been 14 years ago. So even though my main company has been servicing commercial roofers for 12 years, that's not where it started. It was a spinoff once I had all these commercial roofers. So this was before that. And he had this long letter that an attorney put together so that he could say it's a permanent roof when it's not permanent. The idea is recoats. So a lot of it was learning how to give people what they think is a good idea, um, and twisting it into something. Because back then, a lot of these guys were, at least in the rural areas. I mean, I live in a rural area. I got 20,000 people here in Ashland, Ohio. I seem to attract them, and I'm way more comfortable, even though I work with some really big companies. You probably saw on my LinkedIn. Um, I started trading stocks when I was 15. That also started a whole nother side to my life, working with public companies. But, going back to more on the contractor side, they're doing handwritten one-page proposals. The warranty is one line. 20 years on labor and materials. In some cases, but helping people graduate from that, and then also, I guess, being willing to spend more money for quality. I was just shocked the way that they'd go in with one-page manufacturer sell sheet on the system, and their handwritten proposal, and ask for 80,000, on upwards to $200,000 a lot of times. I mean, you could go up higher, but staying in realistic range. For most of them, they were stingy with their samples. Like, oh, I only have four. I can't let you keep this one. Or their brochures. Trying to do it themselves. With some kind of $50 software they got from Walmart. So I think that was really challenging. But then once the results came in from leveling up, having custom graphics, even better ones than what many manufacturers had at the time. I mean, the results were there. And so once that got out of the way, it was like, well, who cares if it's extra, $200 or $2,000, let's do it right.
What do you notice the habits of the companies that do a great job, and what are the ones that are just kind of on the cusp or not quite getting it done?
I think one of the biggest challenges, and now people realize it, is that they don't really take good care of their incoming leads. And that can even be referrals. They just think it's supposed to come in. I mean, you've seen it. You're in the same industry I'm in. The last 2 years have been tough. They're trying harder, but so are all their competitors. So now it doesn't really matter that much. They need to take it the next step beyond that, not just level up once like everybody else is, but a couple more steps. I would say, having just good reminder systems, or at least a team member, whether it's your wife, someone you hire, or an AI bot. You need someone to help you in the areas that you're weak. And a lot of contractors, they just aren't very systematic, we'll just say.
If someone was starting out in the industry, where would you guide them? Like, in the roofing industry? Like, what sort of advice would you give them?
I guess I would say, check out my website, choiceroofcontractors.com. There's hundreds of blogs that we've published since 2013. Many of them are to help people in their journey. Beyond that, finding someone that you can trust, or being in a group. Probably my favorite group that anybody can get access to as a roofer is Commercial Roofers United. You probably came across it, 14,000 people. Andy Neer is actually one of those that I've helped with marketing. He'd done a couple of commercial roofs at the time. He's done a lot more since then, of course. But just basically finding a group of guys you trust, or someone, like my uncle. Obviously, that was very helpful to me. Growing alongside of him from the very beginning stages. That can help you a lot. It's not just like one resource or one conversation. You need a group.